this chat are super open to talk to everybody else. So if you have any questions, you can just message us directly on Facebook. And then people usually do that.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, today's chat is on Acapella. We have a lot of people who have joined us, which is great. We have more upperclassmen than freshmen. So you guys will have a world of information by the end of this chat. So quick intros. I'm Judy. I'm a rising senior studying mechanical engineering with Alex, actually. Although I think this is like the first real conversation we're going to have together.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in Something Broad, Something Blue, which is the Christian co-ed a cappella group. We're the only Christian group, or Christian a cappella group on campus. So if that's your jam, talk to me afterwards. All right. Julia, want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Julia. I'm in LaDue, which is the oldest all-female a cappella group on campus, but one of 3 all-female groups in total here, so we've got a lot for you. And I'm studying public policy. That's about it.
And
Okay.
I'm Hannah. I am also in Out of the Blue with Julia, and I'm going to be a rising sophomore, and I'm studying political science and education and history.
That's very cool. I like that combination. I've never heard of it before.
Thank you. Oh,
Alex.
All right, I'm Alex. I am in Rhythm and Blue. We are Duke's oldest co-ed a cappella group. And yeah, I'm a rising senior doing mechanical engineer, and I am the president of Rhythm and Blue.
I'm Haley. I'm also in Rhythm and Blue. I'm a rising junior, and I'm the concert manager, and I'm studying public policy.
What is a concert manager?
So I'm in charge of booking all of our performances and concerts.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Okay.
R&B concert manager does like all the social stuff, right?
No, we actually have a social chair.
Oh, okay.
I do social stuff with people, with like other groups when they call in and want to do mixers and stuff, just because I'm the contact on the website. But yeah, we have a social chair.
Cool. And so yeah, and out of the like the concert manager just does the concert. But I was
Okay. Freshman Hannah, you gonna introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Hannah. I like singing. I did a musical once. It was a lot of fun, but I'm musically illiterate, can't read it, so I kind of want to learn more because I like singing. Like, yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, I know for Something Broad, Something Blue at least, we don't require our members to be able to read music. It's definitely useful, but it's not a requirement. I don't know if about Out of the Blue or Rhythm and Blue.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, go ahead, Hannah.
Oh, no, sorry. I didn't really know a ton about reading music either, and you just learn with practice, and it's definitely not a requirement, and you pick it up as you go, and all of the upperclassmen, especially like the music directors, are really, really good about like taking 10 minutes before rehearsal if you need it, and just going over what your part's going to be, so it's never high pressure. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I came in not really knowing how to read music at all, and didn't really have a lot of singing background, and so it's definitely not a requirement and something you learn a lot in, I would say, just like being in the group and singing a lot of music and being around music.
Karen.
Hi, I'm Karen, and I am probably going to major in biology or something like that. I don't know yet. But I'm just interested in singing because I love singing just like at home. I've never really performed per se, like besides like elementary school chorus class, but you know. But I just like singing.
That's great.
Yeah. When I came into Something Broad, Something Blue, I've never actually performed on stage either before that point, and I was hard pressed to audition for any of the groups. My roommate really encouraged me to audition because when I came to Duke, I was super happy that I got into Duke in the first place, and so it felt like this dream come true. And when I'm happy, I sing a lot, and so my roommate's like, Judy, you need to audition for an a cappella group because you sing really well. That's what I did.
You'd be surprised by the number of members in each group who had no intention of auditioning and last minute like ran into the audition or got pushed into it by one of their friends. Pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's no real stat on this, but I think maybe like for all the current a cappella group members, maybe half of them are like friends who were originally accompanying their friends who were auditioning, and just like by the wind was like, oh, well, I'm already here, let's audition. I mean, like everybody else is doing it already. Yeah. So to start with, do you guys have any questions for us?
You mentioned auditioning. Like, when would that take place?
Sure. Actually, Julia, do you want to take this one?
Sure. So all of the a cappella groups actually host auditions together, and by that I mean we have a week when all the a cappella groups are auditioning. They're separate auditions, but we all organize it together. So what happens is you're going to have a show on the first day of school that night, where you'll see a showcase of all of the a cappella groups. And then after that show will be tabling, so you can sign up for an audition slot with any of us. Or if you want, you can get any of our emails in advance and sign up for that through email instead or Facebook message. And then, like, I think it's like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I guess since the show's on Monday, it'll be the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of the first week of school. We'll have auditions, and you sign up for like I think it's like a 15-minute slot, and you can sign up for any amount of groups that you want. So a bunch of people will sign up for like 4 different groups and just try out anything that they want to see like what each group has to offer. But basically, it's a really quick audition. It's very low pressure, and it's all organized together, so you can audition for as many groups as you want.
And I highly recommend, because you'll see all the a cappella groups perform on O Show, which is what we call it, and you'll kind of get a gist of what kind of group you want to be in or what sound you really liked. But I highly recommend auditioning for a bunch of groups because you don't really know until you get in there and you meet the people and you feel the culture of the room. So I highly recommend, just trying everything out because, the worst they can do is say no, which isn't that bad, trust me. So I was denied from groups, and that's totally fine. So it's just a really fun process. It's very low pressure, and it's great fun. So.
Yeah, I think the like hardest part about auditioning is actually preparing a song to sing. So for all the groups, we have 2 rounds. So the first round, of course, you go in, you sing, they talk to you, they figure out if you're the kind of person that they want, and then you can figure out if they're the kind of group that you want to join. And then if you guys like each other, then we would invite you guys to a second round. So the second round, you have to sing a different song, and then and I think you talk a little bit more after the second round as well. But like going off of Hannah's point, once you already have the 2 songs prepared, where you only have to prepare that 1 song to start with, like the auditions take maybe like 10 minutes max. So it's just a difference of like going to a different room and singing the same song. So why not? Like, don't close the doors on yourself. Just like keep all your options open.
And then also for that second song, I also recommend that you pick something that is totally a different type of song than the first one you sang, so that you don't, box yourself in and say like, oh, I only sound like this, but instead you have a pretty well-rounded. They can get a pretty well-rounded idea as to what your voice is like.
Yeah. Karen, do you have any questions?
I just want to know, like, how time-consuming or, like, is being an a cappella, because I'm trying to, like, juggle different, like, clubs, and I know, like, I'm the type of person who joins, like, every single club, so...
Yeah. Like, well, first of all, don't do that at Duke.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. So time coming wise, I think we'll go by group because I know R&B is as competitive, whereas SBSB is like we don't compete in anything. So I'm sure the time commitments for different groups are different. So for SBSB, we practice 5 hours a week. So we split that into 2 practices, 1 2-hour practice sometime during the weekday, usually like Thursday or Wednesday, and then we do one on Sunday, which is 3 hours long. But because we're a Christian a cappella group, our 3 hour practice is made up of 1 hour of worship time, where we just like jam to different worship music, and then for the other 2 hours, we actually do our repertoire. Yeah, so out of the blue.
Yeah, so we also rehearse 5 hours a week, and we have the same structure with a 2 hour practice during the week and a 3 hour practice on the weekend. And then otherwise, we have a lot of concerts, so we will have a concert, I would say average once a week. Hannah, you can chime in if you think it's more.
Yeah, right. Right.
And then the other time commitment that we have is we record albums every 2 years. So we are recording pretty much every semester, and that's not a huge time commitment because we'll take like a few days out of the semester to record, and you'll go during a time slot that works for you. And then we typically don't, we haven't competed in ICCAs, which are the international acapella competitions that like you see in Pitch Perfect. They're very real. We don't compete in those, so that's not any type of time commitment for us, but occasionally we do host the event at Duke, so that's sometimes something that we do, but it's not like a huge time commitment over a long period of time.
Well, Alex and, oh shoot, I forgot your name.
Haley.
Alex and Haley, do you guys want to talk about R&B?
Yeah, so we also rehearse for 5 hours a week, 2 hours during the week and 3 hours on the weekend. We usually have 1 to 2 performances per week. Sometimes it's not that consistent. We might have 2 in 1 week and none for the next 2 weeks. But and then, as Judy said, sometimes we compete. We don't always. But we competed this past year, and whenever we have competitions or like even major concerts or things like that, we do throw in a lot of extra rehearsals. But I will say that everyone in R&B is involved in something else, and I think this is probably true for the other groups too. Like everyone is involved in another club or multiple other clubs. Everyone is like really into their classes, just like every Duke student. So it's definitely not like it has to be your whole entire life. And I know we are, and I'm assuming all the other groups are really understanding of like legitimate academic or like extracurricular conflicts. So you can definitely balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with that being said though, so Acapella is different from a lot of the other clubs that you will be joining, because other clubs, they like you don't have to attend every single meeting. There's a lot of work that you can do by yourself. Like even for the dance groups, you don't have to attend every single dance number. You can do 1 during the semester, or you can do like 4 or 5 during the semester, and that's fine. But for Acapella, because it's such a team dynamic, and you are only one voice out of this entire ensemble that makes a piece what it is, you need to be there for every practice. And like, yes, you can miss like 1 or 2 practices if you're sick, or if you have like 5 midterms coming up that week, but usually we do expect all our members to be there for 100% of the practices, just because if you're an alto and you don't know your part for the practice or for the rehearsal on Wednesday, then all the other altos have to take time to catch you up on that part, and so you're not behind, and you're not the quacking voice that don't know your syllables and sings the wrong notes during like a piece. Yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say for Out of the Blue, we kind of have hours. We call them academics, where you can use them however you want, but you have a certain amount to use over the semester, and those can be, I have a huge test coming up, or I'm going to go home and see my family. Any of those things count, and we can use those in order to feel like if you need breathing room, you have it, but it's something that the group is all like agreed on.
Do you guys have any more questions? Because I figured if you don't have any questions, we can just go one by one and tell a really funny story about our a cappella groups. Because I know for me at least, like I transferred into Duke after my first year at another university, and SBSB was like my saving grace. It was like my group of friends that when I joined them, I instantly had all these like funny stories that I could tell to this group of people. So like. Well, we can launch into stories about our respective groups if you guys don't have any other questions.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Yeah? Okay, so I'll start. So SBSB, we're a Christian a cappella group. I actually didn't end up joining a Christian ministry on campus, even though I am a Christian, because my a cappella group was it was so tight knit, and we, like, I basically had everything that I needed in terms of spiritual growth or and like social engagement just with my a cappella group. So we do these socials, or we go bowling sometimes. We'd spend all our spring breaks together. We'd go to one of our members' houses, and we just spend the entire week singing and doing community service around whatever hometown. And then at night we would do a bunch of weird things that are just hilarious to think about. I still check my group me every single day because one of our members, Jackson, will just post the randomest pictures, and it makes everyone laugh. I think, let's see, one of the stories. So I remember my first week. Actually, it was second or third week of school, and I was having a really tough time transitioning to Duke, because I was a sophomore, but I was taking freshman classes, and I couldn't really like figure out the social scene because I was also from Canada, and it was just like minor differences that I just didn't really understand. So I was riding on the bus, and like halfway through, Chris, someone on my a cappella group, comes in, and he's like, "Hey, Judy, like, what's up? How's your day going?" And I ended up like spilling my guts to him about how I wasn't sure if Duke was the right place for me. I have no doubt now that Duke is a place for me, but at the time it was just really hard to see the right answer. So Chris ended up like inviting me to lunch, and we just sat down for lunch, and we talked for hours and hours and hours. And Chris is like, "You know what, Judy? Like, I totally feel you. I felt like somewhat of the same feeling when I first came into Duke. I just wasn't sure if I could find my right friend group or not, but like we like come out to church with us this Sunday, and then we'll get like lunch afterwards, and then you can meet all our friends." So like that was just like one of the very many opportunities that SBSB presented to me that actually showed me that like I was valuable as a Duke student, and that there was a way to make friends through being in a group. Yeah, that's my story. Julia?
Well, I don't know how I'm going to follow that up because that's wonderful. And I think what I will say about UPA is I came into it with an interesting connection. My sister had been in the group before I was, and she had graduated right before I came to Duke. So joining out of the blue on a very personal level was a way for me to find a connection with her at Duke, even though she had already gone, and that was really cool for me to do. But I think, and just because I feel like I want to like plug UPA, not to like, I guess
plug all you want.
Okay, I think,
no thing.
Okay. I think what is really special about UPA to me is the musicianship. I think that Out of the Blue, sorry, I refer to Out of the Blue as UPA. I just realized you guys probably don't know. But Out of the Blue is filled with some extremely talented people who just take the music seriously, and I think that's really special. I also think that it's really fun to, I mean, and a lot of the groups record too, but one of the most special parts about this group to me has been recording the albums and releasing music, because that's just crazy to like have something that you've made out there. It's like a really special thing for sure. And then I would also say that just having a community of people who, where you're not like there's not a lot of social pressure really in the group, and yet you're with these people all the time, so you maintain, like Judy said, relationships that are based on trust and value, rather than kind of being thrown into the pressures of freshman year.
Yeah, going off of that, I mean, I didn't rush Greek life my freshman year because Out of the Blue felt like my sorority. They were my sisters, and we, had heart-to-hearts together, and we sang like potential breakup song together, and just all of those things. It really felt like a family, and it was definitely, I've always loved to sing my whole life, and to be around like these like smart, intelligent, passionate, friendly, wonderful ladies all the time just singing and working hard together has been like such a gift and such a family. You know, we go on tour every fall break, and like my first fall break, this past one, we were all in Birmingham, Alabama, and we were all on this like huge inflatable bed and just like eating M&Ms and telling our life stories. And it's things like that where you just remember like this is really special. And it can be a lot of work, and you can not get your part, and you don't understand, or you know you're doing choreo and you hate it. But like when you are all together, it's like okay, like these are my people. Like this is what I want to do, and it's a really special thing. So.
I would just say I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think like a lot of freshmen are really scared to make these big commitments from the get-go because they want to give themselves the freedom to try a lot of things. I think this is a really excellent bet to make. Acapella in general is an excellent bet to make.
Yes, I agree. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Alex and Haley. Oh, you guys can talk about how you met too.
I know, that's true. Yes, we did meet in our acapella group.
Yeah. Now we're dating, if that's not clear.
Yeah.
You can go first.
Okay. I don't know if I have like a specific story, but one of the coolest things about being in R&B, and I'm sure in any acapella group, is just the level of like talent you see sometimes. Like I'm in awe every day of some of the people we have in our group and how good of singers they are, and I actually didn't get into R&B the first time I auditioned in the fall of my freshman year, and I got in the spring during spring auditions. And so something like that has been really, like, I guess, it's very humbling, I guess, to see something like that and come into the group at a place where I had to work a little bit harder and get better, and it was something I did work on and got in. And so I feel like during that time and like afterwards, I was able to like learn a lot from the group and got some good feedback, and was able to come back and get in. So like if it's something that you don't get into the first time, like don't be discouraged by it. And that was like something that was really hard because like I got through a couple of the first rounds for a few of the groups and then ended up getting rejected by all of them at the end. And like it was very disheartening at first, but it was something that I like really wanted and stuck with and really wanted to be in the group. So I kept working at it, and now that I'm in the group, it's something that I learn new stuff every single day and learn a lot from really talented people. And I think that's like one of my favorite things about the group is just like how much I feel like I've grown and learned musically.
So my favorite thing about the group is probably just the people and like my relationships with everyone. I have a different experience than Alex, but I was like singing my whole life and like always in choir and things like that. And even though I love doing it, like I never really considered the people like my close friends at all. We were just kind of like acquaintances that sang together. And so I didn't really expect that out of an a cappella group in college. Like I just expected to sing, and I was like blown away like 2 weeks in by the fact that like this group of like almost 20 people were like my best friends. And like Julia's like shaking her head like we're not just saying that, like they're my best friends. I've met like the best people in the world in my acapella group. And it's crazy that like we can rehearse before ICCAs, we rehearse like every single day of the week, and it's crazy that you could spend that much time with people and still want to hang out with them after. Like we go from rehearsal to dinner and then like go to someone's apartment and hang out because like that's how much we want to spend time together. And it really is like a family. Like we fight like siblings, but we love each other like siblings too. And I also wanted to chime in with like something that I didn't expect out of the group also is that like how valuable it is to have upperclassmen connections right away. Which is something you can find in any group, but even like this past year when I was a sophomore, I switched majors, so I switched into public policy, and I had literally no idea what I was doing. I felt like I was so behind. I didn't know anything about public policy, and like one of the seniors in the group was a public policy major, and I texted him every single day, like that whole semester, asking him like which teachers I needed to take, what clubs I needed to join, which classes he recommended, and things like that, and like I don't necessarily know that I would have had such a close like upperclassmen connection if I wasn't like in a group like this. So that's something that's so valuable, and it starts like first week of school are auditions. So like second week of school, you have those connections and like everyone's willing to help you out right away. So that's something, like I said, not necessarily specific to acapella groups, but just kind of a plug for like getting involved somehow.
Could I ask a question?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Alex, that's your name, right? You mentioned
Yeah.
spring auditions. Could you elaborate on that more? Like,
Yes. So
yeah.
some groups, that not every group will have spring auditions, but sometimes we have, like R&B has a smaller audition thing where sometimes we invite some people back to audition, and it's not necessarily something we do every year. Like this past year we didn't do it. It kind of depends on the need of the group. If we've had people leave the group or go abroad, or we had more people graduate than like in one year versus another year. Like 2 years ago we had like 6 people graduate, and this past year we had 3 people graduate. So we have different needs every year, and so sometimes we might need a tenor, or we might need a soprano. So spring auditions happen sometimes, and it's a fairly similar process to the beginning, just with a smaller group of people, I guess.
will that be like no public or like invite only basis?
It's a little of both. Sometimes it's kind of like word of mouth with friends, of people we know, like friends of the group, or people that are in other maybe. Well, actually, like sometimes a lot of people we've gotten through spring auditions, they're part of chorale, which is a choir on campus, and we actually have a lot of members in chorale, or at least have in the past. And so like we know a lot of people that. Actually, like 2 of our members that didn't get in their freshman year when they auditioned, they both joined chorale and spent a lot of time with that and improved a lot, and then came back the next year and were able to get in the group then. And so that's also like another alternative. Like if acapella is something that doesn't work out, there's lots of other like options on campus to stick with singing and do that. Like you could take classes or join chorale, or there's even a record label on campus that has jam sessions all the time. You can go play instruments or sing. So there's all sorts of cool things to do on campus.
To your question too about whether it's like publicized or not, usually we don't like heavily publicize it, only because during spring the audience is like people who probably would have already heard about auditions. Like it's not any new people, it's existing like Duke students. But that doesn't mean like if you emailed us and you were like, hey, are you having spring auditions? I'd love to audition. Like, you could absolutely audition. It's more just like we don't want to annoy everyone with our posts all the time because we feel like we know who the audience will be. But you can, I mean, that might be a good strategy too, like for anyone who doesn't get in right away. Just like stay in contact with the groups that you're interested in, email them, and like go to their shows and things like that. My best friend actually is in R&B, and she got in the spring of her freshman year, and she jokes about it because she was like R&B's biggest fan for the longest time. She came to like literally everything, which is partly because of me, but also just because she loved the group. And now she's in the group, and it was because she came to everything and everyone knew who she was. So definitely like email your the presidents or concert managers or whatever equivalent for every group, and stay in contact if you don't get in right away.
Okay.
Something else. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Hannah.
You can go first.
Okay, well, I was going to say something else that we didn't mention is that every a cappella group will have arch sings. Now that the BC Arch is finally open, what? We'll have arch sings at the BC, and I'm pretty sure like before the BC Arch closed, most of the a cappella groups would have arch sings at that location. So that's just like for more publicity and also to like showcase our work in a more informal way, because arch sings are always really fun for the a cappella groups because it's like super casual. We'll bring in our backpacks. It'll be like after our classes or in between class changes, and we'll just like hang out and we'll sing like 1 or 2 songs and then we'll scatter. Yeah, so you can look out for us for that as well, and like talk to any of the members afterwards or before. Yeah. Hey, Hannah, you were gonna say something.
Oh, when do you guys like normally practice? Like, I guess what times? Like in the evenings or?
Yeah, it'll be in the evenings, so you don't have to worry about like schedule conflicts because everybody in an a cappella group is also a student and also has other clubs and commitments to attend to. So what we do, and I'm pretty sure this is like the standard practice across the board, is we'll send in our schedules, so our class schedules and our extracurricular schedules, to our general manager, or like the person in charge, whatever they're called in different groups, at the end of the or at the beginning of the semester, and then he or she will have the very fun task of finding the least conflicting time to make a 2-hour schedule, or 2-hour practice time during the week, and a 3-hour schedule time practice time during the weekend. So there normally isn't any conflicts. Yeah, even when I was a freshman and sophomore, I was on the rowing team. It was a varsity team. We had 20-hour practice weeks, and still I was like a cappella was still very, very doable for me. So to put that in perspective, yeah. Hey, it's 9:32. Do you guys have any last questions that you want to ask about a cappella or the music scene in general at Duke?
I think that's it.
Not really. Yeah.
Okay, great. So watch out for these coffee chats. They happen every night at 9 p.m. EST, because that's when I get home. I really like doing them, and I'll always reach out to my networks to see who knows the topic that we're talking about better than I do, because I don't know it all, even though sometimes I act like I do. Um, and also, we're pushing out an app called Walla on campus, and you can find all your RAs on Walla, but you can also find activities that all the Duke students are doing, so you can join in on anything. I know SBSB will be posting on Walla whenever we have like jam sessions on the quad. We'll have like just like half an hour free. We'll like go to McDonald's and like eat stuff. So like you can always meet new people on campus through Walla. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining. I think
Thank
this
you.
has been a really good chat. Yeah.